Day 3. There's a little clue in this title again, isn't there? Happy Camp lies at the heart of the Karuk Indian country. This was one of the very last places in North America to be reached, to be breached, perhaps we could say, by any outsiders. Mountain men, missionaries, miners, all were very late into this country. That means that as we ride the trails these days, we will be very close to the last vestiges of the Aboriginal American experience. This is the last place in America where men and women armed with bow and arrows met the invaders with guns. It's a truly remarkable place, and I hope you'll all take the time to honor it as we pass through. There is a wonderful little museum, a Karuk Indian museum in Happy Camp, and many of the people hosting us this night will be Native Americans. It would be nice, I think, if we could all remember that we're having fun with visiting a different state, but in going to Happy Camp and being welcomed by the Karuks, we're also visiting a different nation. Tuesday, we'll saddle up then for our first plunge into the primeval forest. This area is home to many of our region's most magnificent trees, including the stunning Port Orford cedar. And then, once again, of course, you knew it was coming, we will answer the siren song of those siskiyous. It's a short climb this time. Easy for me to say. It's a short climb this time. It's no more than 9 miles. It's no fewer than 9 miles either, actually. It's 9 miles. And the payoff is this incredible panorama from the summit, and then, of course, a glorious 11-mile descent, and then the ultimate reward, a stunning campsite on the shore of Lake SELMAC. We have a couple of suggestions on how we might all relax at the end of this day. So there it is, day 3, Happy Camp to Lake SELMAC. It's 54 miles. If you look very closely at the right side of this slide, you may notice a second itty-bitty little climb towards the tail end of the day. When you look at this slide, it may not look like very much at all, but trust me, grown men will weep. On then to day 4, Redwood country. Emerging from the shores of Lake SELMAC, we'll head first a little ways east before turning north again to take our stretch on the Redwood Highway. Picking up again our theme of wild water, we'll trace once more along the path of the Rogue as the road switchbacks between high viewpoints and riverfront trails. We'll have lunch this day right on the banks of the Rogue at Indian Mary Park. And then on in the afternoon into Oregon covered bridge country until finally we leave the Rogue to follow Grave Creek before picking up Wolf Creek for our run into the celebrated Wolf Creek Inn, the oldest of all Oregon hotels. It'll be easy to tell from a bicycle seat by now that we're in the heart of Oregon big timber country. As we gaze at the trees around us, it'll be so hard to remember how these folks really did, not just bring them down by hand, but move them by hand and by oxen. And in celebration of all that history, we're going to spend the night in a classic Oregon timber town, surely the only town in Oregon in which the high school is shaped like a pirate ship. This is Glendale, day 4, Lake SELMAC to Glendale. It's a 70-mile ride. There are virtually no hills on this day, just as you see here, what I like to think of as a series of minor bumps in the road. Last one's actually more of a bump, and it is 4,100 vertical feet, but that's day 4. On then to day 5, a river runs through us. This is the day that for all our friends from afar, we showcase Oregon just like they pictured it. We'll ride first through the ancient forest, where the cathedral groves seem so dense that you marvel how anything, especially anything as big as an elk, could ever move through it. and then we'll ride along more of those wild and scenic rivers, no fewer than 5 of them this day. We'll skirt the scenic Galesville Reservoir, which is home to one of our state's hardest working flocks of eagles. The fishing here is awfully good. And through the afternoon, we'll make a glorious 40-mile descent down through that deep forest before finally emerging again into a valley of covered bridges. We'll pitch our tents that night right back there on the banks of the Rogue River, hard by the bright lights of Grants Pass. I say the bright lights of Grants Pass because after the 5 previous days and the sort of communities where we've been staying, trust me, Grants Pass will appear to you like Paris. Day 5, Glendale to Grants Pass. It's 76 miles, and this, I must confess, is my kind of Cycle Oregon day. All the work is in the morning, nothing but fun in the afternoon. On then to day 6. Some of you I know are probably starting to worry, hey, what happened to our layover day? So here we are in Grants Pass, the Paris of Southern Oregon. We thought this might be the perfect place for our layover loop. Dawn on the Rogue, and we will indeed be camping right on the banks of the Rogue, Riverfront Park, and we wake to that most ancient summons of Oregon, so little time and so many choices. Grants Pass is the center of recreation on the Rogue, and the community is promising for us a full day of activities. There'll be opportunities for hiking, for fishing, and of course, for getting out there on that white water. We understand, of course, that there still will be those few, those hardy few, who want to ride their bikes. For them, well, actually for Jay Graves and for me, and the few hardy souls who join us each year on this madcap day off, we crafted a 43-mile layover loop. Yes, we did indeed throw in a few hills, just for good measure. If you look closely here in the afternoon, there's something that looks more like a wall than a hill. It is the only one we found on this entire week. It's a classic extended 10% grade. That's day 6, our layover loop. And as I look at it again, letting Jay ride this day alone is sounding more and more attractive to me. Day 7, the final day of our tour. We leave Grants Pass. Time finally to turn our backs on the Rogue River. But don't worry, there are still plenty of treats in store. We'll begin our final day with a ride across the floor of the bucolic Applegate Valley. This is the southern terminus of the legendary Oregon Trail, destination for so many pioneers coming west in their covered wagons, seeking that tall grass and sweet water. We'll ride through forests of oak and madrone, that stunning southern Oregon madrone, and then on into the vineyards and the dairy farms of the Applegate. As our tour draws to a close, we'll make one last stop in one last postcard-perfect community in the town of Jacksonville. And from there, it's on again through the Bear Creek Valley back to where this adventure all began. That's day 7, Grants Pass to Medford. It's 52 miles. We wanted to end this tour the way we started. By tradition, of course, we have a nice easy cruise into the finish line. But we thought since we'd had a little fun at the beginning, why not have a little fun at the end? And so we threw in there that optional final afternoon climb. It's just a 10-mile option in the afternoon up the steepest hill that we could find. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, Cycle Oregon 2009. I hope it looks as exciting and as promising to all of you as it does to all of us who've spent so much time this year putting it together. It's every bit as challenging and it's every bit as rewarding as any tour that we've ever staged. If you come join us in September, I can promise you, you really will be entering a different state of mind. Thank you all.